Okay, I'm live. Excuse me. My mic. Can anyone hear me? Can anyone hear me? I'm trying to figure out all this audio nonsense. I think I have to be close for you to hear me. Oops, I was texting you. I was texting you. And no one's gonna come. Oh, some people did come. Can anyone hear me? Like, is my audio okay? Thank you, Amber. Oh, shoot, where's my water? Where's my water? Where's my water? My salt water. I need my salt. Anyway. So people can put their birth information in the chat and all, Oh yeah, please like the stream. Subscribe. Help me out with the algorithm. You can put birth info in the chat and hopefully we'll keep track of it properly. I'll keep track of it. It's just I want to talk about some other things too, because we got wild stuff going on. Where's the birth information? Where's birth information? Here we go. Thank you, Amber. You see my new little graphic, Amber, where it's got my PayPal thing on there? I made that last night. After I talked to you. So anyway, I'm in the midst of finishing a script for a video about the upcoming Mars Cazimi, which is a big deal. A Cazimi is when a planet is in the heart of the sun. So within 17 degrees, within 17 minutes, not degrees, minutes. Right? Excuse me. Very small window. And so you may remember when I did that video about the Venus cycle, right? When Venus was retrograde. And then the Venus Cazimi, or what's called the inferior conjunction. Which was sort of like the end of a big cycle, And so this time, this sort of came to me. I'm sure someone else has thought of it, but I was very proud of myself because I thought it sounded original. But I related the Mars cycle and this Mars Cazimi, right? An exact conjunction. I related it to the myth of Heracles, right? Now, everyone knows of the mythical Hercules, right? From the Disney movies, and it's the Romanized version. But the Greek myth is pretty wild. And one of the reasons it came to me is because Alice Bailey, one of the, esoteric teachers I grew up on, she wrote the book Esoteric Astrology. And that's almost exclusively what I did for many years before I discovered ancient astrology, you see. So, and that's all about initiation, right? And the souls, I hate that word, it's about consciousness and its eventual victory over the material nature and re-identification with its source. So you may be familiar with the story of the prodigal son, right? And the whole thing about it is that, the son leaves his father's home with all of his inheritance and squanders it, right? On sex and drugs, let's say. And then he comes to his senses while eating pig slop. And he's like, yo, my dad's servants eat better than this. I'm just going to go and, be submissive and tell him I'll just work in his yard and I'll live in the, servants' quarters or whatever. Because back then, you had lots of servants, or some people had servants, right? So the son goes back, and when he's just walking up, his dad sees him from afar and just loses his shit. He's overjoyed, right? He's so happy that he turns to the older brother, right? And he says, "Yo, homie, look, your brother's coming back. I want you to go and slaughter the fattened calf. I want you to get the good wine out. I want you to call all the people over to come have a feast." And the older son's pissed. He's like, "Well, he didn't do anything. Why are we celebrating this fool?" And, oh shit, live chat. Oops. And the father said, "You don't understand. My son was dead, and now he's alive again." You see? So it's sort of an indication or a symbolic depiction on our relationship with our creator or our source or whatever you want to say. It's like we left. We went deep into the world to discover, right? All of its pleasures and treasures. I love going deep myself, right? But then we come to our senses and realize that something is lacking. That we're missing. We're not engaged with the fragment of ourselves, right? That has been pervaded by whatever that source is. So, it's a wonderful symbol, you see. And in Hermetic philosophy and a lot of Western esotericism, it's sort of a similar cosmology. That everything issues from a common source. And that everything terminates in matter, only to then go back on the reverse wheel seeking, right? Consciousness seeking its source. And Ramana Maharshi, one of these gurus I followed for many years, he used to say, if you're seeking God earnestly with your whole heart and your whole mind, then you can be rest assured that God is seeking you with even more zeal and fervency. Is that a word? Even more passion. So, anyway, I wasn't going to talk about all that, but I think it's important, especially with all... Oh, yes, you may use a super chat. I love super chats. But anyway, in relation to the Mars Cazimi, this is a big deal. So I'm going to do horoscopes with it too. You see? Yeah, donations are optional, of course. You can start throwing your shit in the comments if you want. But anyway, in relation to this upcoming Mars Cazimi, this is the culmination of something. Because in the myth, right? Heracles, he has a fall from grace. He's the strongest, baddest guy. But Hera makes him crazy. And he hacks up his family, right? And then he realizes what he's done and he has to atone. And that's when he has to do the 12 labors. You see? That's when he does the 12 labors. And Alice Bailey, right, who I studied for many years, wrote a book called The Labors of Hercules. And she related each of those 12 labors to one of the zodiacal signs. And the whole thing she sort of illustrates as an allegory of initiation, right? Because Heracles is promised by Zeus, his father, the head god, right? He gets promised immortality. And immortality, the idea of it, right? That you don't die or whatever, that you don't change, that you become this immortal being. The whole idea of it is that you've reconnected with your source, or not even reconnected, been reabsorbed by it, right? That's your identification once again. I have no clue. That's all theoretical, that part. I have no clue what that feels like. But I can tell you what it feels like to be earnestly seeking and to have this sense that you're earnestly being sought, right? So anyway, but that's, no one really cares about that. If anyone wants to put their birth information down, then I can start telling you wonderful things or nasty, terrible things. Depends on what's going on, but I don't bullshit people. Is this my salt water? I don't see anyone else in the chat. No one else has said anything, so I don't know. No one has put any information except for Chaley. So we'll look at that. Excuse me. I was hoping this one young lady, the one with the synastry from last time, would come back. But I'll just leave her voice messages. Some people are a lot like clouds, you know. 'Cause life's much better when they go. Need a taste of your own medicine. 'Cause I'm sick to death of following. You were just about to text me that? Well, thank you, Ember. Date Time City. Well done. Thank you, sweetheart, for doing Date Time City. Because then I don't get all wackadoodle. I still get wackadoodle. Thank you, Chaley. I very much appreciate your donation. Thank you very much. That's very sweet of you. I appreciate it. Oh my god. Yes, I know Solar Fire. If you type anything wrong in Solar Fire, it gets all wackadoodle. PM. Salt Lake City, Utah. Some people are a lot like clouds, you know. 'Cause life's much brighter when they go. Okay, so there's Chaley, and then there's Chaley's partner, I think. Some people are a lot like clouds, you know. 1/06 1998. God, it just trips me out, some birth dates. It's like, you know, what was I doing in 1998? I just got into high school in 1998. You know? I was doing disgusting things in 1998. It's just like, oh my gosh. Here, I'm going to do screenshots here. Write people's stuff down. And you just can't quit. Gonna do with it. So I'm going to write down Vukasin. I'm sorry, I'm not saying your name properly. 10 December 98, 9:05 a.m. Oh, and you're a Croat also. You're a Croat. 15-year age difference. Yeah, look at you. That's pretty scandalous. Wait, I'm seeing a 27-year-old and I'm 40. So that's a 13-year difference. But no, you take the cake. What are you, James Woods, Chaley? Sorry, that's a bad joke. But you know what I'm saying. That's a bad joke. A lot of these, and to be quite honest with you, age is just a number. Like, one young lady I'm seeing is way more mature than I am. Like, way more mature. She's schooling me on how not to take things personally, So, which is a big lesson for me, obviously. So, Chaley's partner. Okay, Vukavar. I don't know how to... Wait, where did it go? You look young. Yeah, so do I. I don't look 40. At least all the young girls at these fun parties I go to tell me I don't look 40. They all think I'm 30. One thought I was 28. That was fun. Okay, Vukovar, Croatia. Everyone's got... What? Maybe... Oh, I don't know. I haven't even looked yet, my sweetheart. I'm doing Chaley first. I'm just trying to write down your shit. Amber, can you write stuff down for me? I wasn't going to have you do it. But if you're going to do it, just please do it accurately. Like, make sure every date and... Date, time, city. Date, time, city. Right? Yeah, I have a Croatian friend. And when he was visiting family, like, they woke him up at 7 in the morning with vodka. Like, they were drinking at 7 in the morning, you know. And maybe you're not like that, my dear, but that sure was for him. Okay, now Chaley's partner. Chaley's partner. Where did Chaley's things go? Chaley's partner. Why does everyone disappear in this chat? Where did Chaley's information go? I just wanted to double check it. It's probably fine. But... I need Chaley. No! Don't start a timer on me. I haven't gotten to it. Amber? Stop it. I need Chaley's partner again. It disappeared. It disappeared. Why does it do that? Why does it do that in the chat? Why can't I see? Why can't I see it? Why does the chat have to suck? Why does this chat suck so hard? Okay, there we go. 1698. I got that. The time. 1:14 a.m. Was that right? 1:14 a.m.? Because I just want to make sure that's correct. 1:14 a.m. 1:14 a.m. 1:14 a.m. Tijuana, Mexico. 1:14 a.m. I don't know, Amber. I can't look at my phone right now. Okay, Chaley partner. 1:14 a.m. I'm just going to assume that's correct. You're not drinking, but smoking and tripping. Not at 7 a.m. Yeah. No, I feel you. I feel you. So here we go. Properties. Oh, wait, no. I gotta press the animate button. Wait, no. Is this the animated page? Why does everything have to suck? Why does everything have to suck? I hope your information is correct. Amber, can you write that shit down for me, please? The last one I have is Lizzie Reese. Hello, Hector. Good to see you, my sweetheart. And then can you please write down Felicia MacArthur? Great, everyone's doing Date Time City. I love it. And I'm assuming... Okay, cool. So I'm assuming all your information is correct. You're a Virgo rising with Moon conjunct. The Moon rules your 11th house. It's quite interesting. Perhaps a bit gregarious, you know. Oh my goodness, who's retrograde? Saturn's retrograde like me? The thing about thing about Virgo rising. From an esoteric standpoint, Virgo has an esoteric mantra. It is, I am the mother and the child. I, God, I matter, am. Right? The fuck does that mean? Yeah? Mother, child, God, right? Matter, all these sorts of things. There's an indication there about the three aspects of deity, right? In many different traditions, Christian, Kabbalistic, right? Hermetic, a lot of them refer to God or the source as a triple being, In Kabbalism, anyway, I'm not going to go off into a whole thing, but suffice it to say, Virgo is like Mercury, right? It's ruled by Mercury. It's Mercury turned inward, as opposed to Gemini, where Mercury is turned outward, you see? And so, anyway, I'll look at the synastry. But I just wanted to say this really quick for other people. So yeah, Virgo, with Mercury turned inward, is sort of related to introspection, self-analysis. It's where we get the whole pickiness thing from, and the whole, oh, Virgo is so anal, right? It comes from something a lot deeper than that. Because it has to do with recognizing the life within matter, right? The livingness in all things, in the material, right? And it does that through investigation, through dissection, through picking things apart. But I always mention to people, you can dissect a bird. You can look at how its intestines fit together and into its stomach and out its anus, right? But you won't see it fly. You won't see it deliver seeds, right? To the rest of to the forest, right? Or the fields, right? Birds are pollinators also. The birds and the bees, you see? Pollination. I love pollination. Human pollination. But the point of that, and the symbol behind that too, you can see it in the Holy Grail myth and all that, is that it's a receptive form for the descent of the spirit aspect. So, whatever that means to you, if anything, doesn't really mean much to me, to be honest with you, because it's all, part of it's theory, right? We only have people's words to take for some things. And if something rings true with you, then so be it. Try it out as an experiment. I tell everyone to be incredulous. Don't believe anything. Be an investigator. Find out for yourself. I tell people not to believe in anything, but at least get familiar with possibilities. And they never turn out like your expectations, of course. And it's important to Virgo rising because Virgo is learning how to relate the parts to the whole. That's something that Aquarius does naturally. And Aquarius is a quincunx, right? In a version, because they're completely different types of expressions. But in a way, there's a complementary sort of thing. Chaley says, I'm a medium. I wear a medium too. I'm extra medium. I'm sorry, it's a bad joke. I always think it's funny. People say, I'm a medium. I'm like, how are you going to call yourself a medium when you're not even a small? Boom, boom, right? And I'm not saying mediumship isn't a thing. Not at all. I'm just, you're a full moon baby. I'm just saying there's a lot of grifters out there, and there's a lot of spiritual idiots. And that's why, because I've been involved in the spiritual community since I was quite young. I left the Catholic Church and got into occultism at 12 years old, starting with Gurdjieff, And I still value the Gurdjieff work. So anyway, look at that exalted Venus in the 7th house. I always joke with 7th house sons that they are simps, And Mars trine the sun. I wonder if you're a bit athletic. Saturn retrograde, not very good with boundaries. Where's Jupiter? Jupiter's not happy, my love. So you probably want fun-loving partners. Excuse me. And you probably want someone quite sexual. To be sexual with you. Or maybe someone who likes children, I don't know. Or someone childlike. Yes. But Jupiter's very, very unhappy. Jupiter's very, very unhappy. He does not like being in Capricorn Samayam. So anyway, probably not a very good relationship history. Let's go to this partner. Let's go to this partner. And the partner's 7th ruler is Venus. Their Venus is in Aquarius and retrograde. So, you know, they have Mars in the 4th house, conjunct Uranus. Well, it's such a wide orb. I don't know if I could say that. But anyway, so I imagine there was a difficult relationship with Dad. Also because the 4th house ruler, yes, sex, for sure. I mean, that's my favorite thing in the world. My number 1 passion is being a good parent. My number 2 passion is sex. My number 3 passion is consciousness. But sex comes first for me. I know it sounds so shallow, but, you know. So, anyway, I mean, this guy's a bit impulsive. He's a bit of a hothead, I imagine. Not a very good relationship with Dad. He wants sort of a mommy type. You know? He wants, or a daddy type. Maybe he has daddy issues and seeks, you know, that whole thing. Moon conjunct Saturn. I mean, it's, the moon is 13 degrees away. You know, I usually call a conjunction off at 10 degrees, but I mean, they're at least co-present. And I have the moon 9 degrees away from Saturn, but I still feel that really hard. You know, it's mental illness oftentimes too. I was diagnosed first with BPD and then bipolar disorder. So, and I see a lot of people with Saturn moon with that sort of stuff. Now, his Saturn too is not very happy. So that's why I say dad issues, you know. So he's looking for a mommy in relationships, kind of. Or maybe a daddy, but through, you know, he probably likes women, so he's looking for a female daddy. Which do exist. There's plenty of female daddies out there. Really quick, bi-wheel. Oh, okay. I'm going to finish up. Amber, thank you for telling me. I'm looking at a bi-wheel really quick. All that stuff. All his stuff is in your 6th house. It could probably feel tedious sometimes. I feel like I've always known this person. This is so easy, right? This is one of those times it feels like fated. Yeah, I know, Amber. I see my text. Thank you. I know, Amber. I'm going to look at a synastry grid, and you can't see this because I'm not going to... I wasted so much time last time trying to make it visible. You know. View. Does it animate? No. It doesn't animate. View. Synastry grid. No. Okay. Properties. Yeah, I don't look at vertex or anti-vertex. I'm sorry, my dear. I don't mean to sound like a jerk, but to me, they're stupid. I mean, shit passes over your fucking vertex and anti-vertex all the time. I've been doing synastry now for 18 years. I used to read all that shit. I used to read every asteroid. It's like we threw every fucking object from the Kuiper belt in the chart. Right? And the more things you add in, the more muddled it all gets. The same with minor aspects. I don't touch minor aspects. I went very traditional. I use outer planets, just not as rulers. I never looked back. I switched to whole sign houses as well. I dispensed entirely with minor aspects because I think they're stupid and I think they're a waste of time. You could make aspects. You could do infinite divisions of a circle, right? And always come up with some new random aspect, right? There's noviles, septiles, quintiles, biquintiles. And there's something interesting about the geometry behind it all, like a quintile and a biquintile. If you trace them around 72 degrees and 144 degrees, you're going to make a 5-pointed star, right? So, and that's sort of interesting, and I know how to read this nonsense, right? What they say about quintiles is that it's a friendly aspect, and it's a perfecting of things, right? Again, to me, these are all just splitting hairs. All I really care about is the traditional aspects. You see? So anyway, a couple good things. Venus trine the ascendant, that's instant attraction. He finds you beautiful. His sun trine your ascendant. It's another thing. Anything aspecting the ascendant is a big deal. So, yeah, and you know where the minor aspects came from. First, it was Johannes Kepler. Johannes Kepler came up with the harmonic aspects, which were based on music. They had nothing to do with the original traditional aspects. They just made it up. And then Dane Rudhyar used those and made up even more. Dane Rudhyar in the 40s or 40s maybe? And his work got widely read in the 1960s. This is all important information because most astrologers, I don't know about most, but most internet astrologers, they don't know this stuff. For most of the people starting out, they don't know a lot of this stuff. They don't know about theosophy. They don't know about Alice Bailey or Helena Blavatsky. They don't know where modern astrology came from. They don't know about ancient history in the Bronze Age. You see, and that's all important stuff to know about, where the symbolism comes from. And I'm biased because I have a 4th house Mercury, because I'm a slut for history. I'm obsessed with history. So, and I get in lots of arguments with people about that, and because people want to pretend like Vedic astrology is some monolith, which it's not. But anyway, let me look for bad stuff. Really, really bad, really, really, really bad. This is one of the worst things to have. Your Saturn square his Mars. Less than 1 degree. You see? Where'd it go? Here we go. Saturn square Mars. You can't see Mars there on the screen, but it's there, and it's a very close aspect. So, you just got to be aware of that, because he'll feel probably like you stifle his freedom. And he'll lose his stuff at some point. Because Saturn tries to impose rules and expectations. And Mars just wants freedom. So you better watch out for that, because he might lash out at some point after taking it, and then exploding. And that's what often happens. Like, I always use the symbolism of Captain Hook and Peter Pan. Oh shit, okay, time, sorry. Yeah, okay, time to move on. Pluto square Venus both sides. Does it even come up here? Yeah. There we go. Pluto, Venus, both sides. Yeah. I mean, that's an obsessive type thing. It's very hard to break that off. But the first thing that I think is really difficult is, that Mars squares Saturn. Pluto square Venus is at least attractive, and it's very sexual and stuff. It just gets negatively obsessive. They get paranoid of each other. It's oftentimes not healthy unless you maintain, I don't know, I'm biased here, but if you're polyamorous, and you maintain ethical communication about all of it, then to me it works. But there's a lot of jealousy involved. There's a lot of jealousy involved with this sort of thing. And typically it's on the Pluto side, but you're both Pluto here, so. I've been in the Venus person, a number of times, and oftentimes I get creeped out by the Pluto person after a while, because they get to, and I'm a butterfly. I'm as free as a bird now, and this bird you cannot change. Oh, I can't change. Next person. Oh, won't you fly, free bird? Yeah. Please, I don't think Felicia is spelled F-E-L-E-I, is it? Maybe it is. Maybe it's some special name, but I just want to make sure you're spelling things correctly. Bye, Felicia. Oh, no, it's Felica. Okay, never mind. Sorry. It's not Felicia, it's Felica. Or is it Felicia and you spelled it wrong? I don't know. Oh, they're from Augusta, Maine, so you probably just spelled it wrong. Is it Felicia or Felica? It's Felicia. Bye, Felicia. Amber, please spell things correctly. I know you've been imbibing, but please. Please spell things correctly. Please spell things correctly. (1985) September the 4th, 1985, 12:14 a.m. Augusta, the capital of Maine. You know, Maine has more water than it knows what to do with. Meanwhile, the whole western United States is dry. So, bye, Felicia. Properties. I'm really excited about this Mars thing with Heracles. It's really a cool thing to me. It's PM. Amber, you have AM. And please, like, Amber, Amber, get stuff right, but please also put your correct. I don't know. I don't see your stuff anymore, Felicia, but please get it. If it's your fault, please, because I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't want to waste other people's time. I don't want to waste other people's time, because I will do it with my own stories. I will do it with my own stories. What about Pluto conjunct the ascendant in synastry or in a chart? You know, if you're talking about synastry, it's a rocky relationship. When Pluto's conjunct the ascendant, and I just talked about stuff. I'm sorry, Chaley, I can't go back. I talked a lot about your stuff. But you're never the same from it. Let's put it that way. You're never the same from it. Bye, Felicia. Is it PM? 12:14 PM? Where the hell did her stuff go? And I'm supposed to just be doing 5 minutes. I'm going to do a montage of me screaming at you. I will. Hello. Hello, Kelsey. Hello. Lovely to have you here. So, God damn it, I lost Felicia. Bye, Felicia. It was 12:14 p.m. Oh, there it is. Okay, 12:14 p.m. Bye, Felicia. I'm sorry, I can't stop. One of my best friends back in California is named Felicia. Her name is Felicia. I worked with her for many years. So we got a Scorpio rising with Saturn conjunct the ascendant. One more thing I'll say about Pluto conjunct the ascendant in synastry is it's like hammering each other. You know, it's very difficult because, you know, there's bloodletting. We often bring a lot of trauma to relationships, unfortunately. And some relationships, you know, you can work that shit out. What I have found personally is that you don't work out trauma in relationships. You work that shit out yourself. By yourself. I did that for 2 fucking years before I started dating again, you know? And I'm so glad that I did. Right? Because it makes me a little bit more prepared and because I just want to have fun. Girls just want to have fun. Oh, girls just want to have... That's all I really want. I love Cyndi Lauper. Anyway. Time after time. I'm getting hot in here. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be cheeky. This is just... It's warm. Kelsey knows. It's warm here. So... Anyway, so this is the thing. For Felicia, when you have Saturn conjunct your ascendant like this, and the moon conjunct the North Node in the 7th house, this usually is a simp. It's usually someone who simps, probably for men. You know, letting people, well, I mean, because there's a tendency oftentimes to look for our, let me go down in the chat so I can see what people are saying. You got dragged, you avoided it if you can. I'm going to drag the hell out of you. I'm going to drag you, Amber. You're a dragon. It's warm in my house, not in my heart. Yeah, I'm a cold-hearted bitch. My heart is as black as coal, right? It's like my favorite movie, or one of my favorite movies, is Legend. And the devil guy says to Blix the goblin, he's like, "Is your heart not black and full of hate?" And Blix says, "Black as midnight, black as pitch, blacker than the foulest witch." Right? I love that. Anyway, I'm sweet. I'm so sweet I'll give you diabetes. So, what you see with this is oftentimes people who seek their value through other people and through relationships. You know? And that's quite difficult because the other thing about Saturn in the 1st house is it's got terrible confidence, right? And that's why it's looking for its value elsewhere. But it's got to find its own value within. And relationships will never be fulfilling unless you're willing to walk away. If you're too scared to, I had to break up with someone recently, and I was broke up with. I say break up with. That's not, it's like, hey, this isn't working, or whatever. I don't know how else to say it, but these kind of people oftentimes stay too long in relationships because they're scared to be alone. Felicia time is AM? Oh my God. Is it PM or is it AM?
Please. I'm not redoing the chart. I'm not redoing it. No. I'll get you, Gadget.
Is it PM or AM? Just tell me. Okay. Amber, don't... If you're going to text me something, Amber, make sure you've quadruple checked it. Please. Because I get confused easy. I'm a bear of very little brain. I'm like Pooh Bear. Think. So, and anyway, and the moon is conjunct the North Node, isn't it? Right? See, oftentimes when you see that, you think that the person was maybe self-centered growing up. But it doesn't look that way to me. This is your chart. Okay, cool. Bye, Felicia. Amber, you spelled it's wrong. You spelled IF. If you're going to text me with spell check. Check your spelling. Because it makes me nervous when you send me things misspelled. It really makes me nervous. And then I can't read charts because I'm afraid that I'm going to get incorrect information. I know, but you just wrote IFS. What the hell is IFS? You know? I know, but what's IFS? Don't send me IFS unless it means something. I think it's a misspelling. You said IFS PM. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be super anal. It's just I need everything correct. Now, with Jupiter square the moon, you got to watch going to excess about things, you know? I wonder if your dad was a bit of a narcissist or never around like his stuff. No, I know. I just want... If you got to bow out, Amber, I totally get it. If you got to bow out, I get it. I just need everything spelled correctly. So... Anyway. Pluto in the 1st house, yeah, creepy shit, you know. Intimidating. That's if you're irritable. Anyway. So with the 4th house ruler in the 1st house, oftentimes either dad or whoever is sort of a narcissist, you know. And then you have, you know, the 7th house ruler is Venus up in the 10th house in Leo. So I imagine that you get possessive. And Venus is technically square the moon. I have that. We get paranoid in relationships. You see, moon square Venus is always paranoid that their partner's going to find someone better, someone cuter, someone faster, someone smarter. And again, this is part of the tyranny of monogamy, because there's anxious attachment here that goes into it. You know, it took me a couple years to unlearn that sort of thing. Right? Because you got to find your value from yourself. And then Venus in Leo is very possessive. Remember Tom Cruise and what's her name? Katie Holmes? He was basically like holding her hostage, wasn't he? At least that's what it said in TMZ or what. I used to read Us Weekly about celebrities. I should probably start doing that again for astrology's sake, because, you know, there's a lot that go, oh, and you probably have anxiety issues with Mars, Mercury. You're probably not very nice to people. I mean, I bet you fly off the handle. You and I would probably get in a shouting match, I bet. And you're a disseminating moon baby. Disseminating moon baby. You know? So you're critical. You're hypercritical. This isn't right. That's not right. That's, you know, that sort of thing, you know. Seventh house ruler in the 10th house, though, you're also attracted to people who are a bit prominent, right? You're attracted to people who, you know, you're attracted to arm candy, perhaps, or people that have their shit together. People who are successful in some way. I used to do this meme where it was like the princess with her arm around the prince, and she was the 10th house Venus, right? So, anyway, we should move on to another person, but just quite interesting. Everything else is fine. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Amber. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Thank you. Okay. Sun in the 11th house, though, is typically quite social. You know. Gets on with people pretty well. No, ugh. No calls. Why? 2-minute warning, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I gotta go on to the next person, but what's really interesting is for 2022, you know, your Scorpio rising, and I always talk about the eclipse cycle stuff. So for 2022, you probably either had a big breakup or some big change in relationship status from April. You know? If no one else has well, I gotta do Hector. Hector. I've gotta do Hector. And Hector's partner. We've got Sinaloa. Wait, Sinaloa, Costa Rica? Or is it Costa Rica, Sinaloa? A state in Mexico. That's very infamous for other things. You know? Sinaloa. Oh, and please write down Vukasin. I hope maybe they don't pronounce V's. It's Vukasin. I don't know. But I have his written down too. But if you would, please, Ember. Oh, and Lizzie Reese. We have Lizzie. Lizzie the Leslie. I'm kidding. Did we already do Lizzie? Wait, did we do Lizzie? We have to do Lizzie and partner. We have to do Lizzie and partner. Lizzie. Anyway, so bye, Felicia. Anyway, so now, you know, you're entering this phase in your life when you've had an existential crisis probably since last October. You know, and since this October, it's sort of going into your cocoon. And having to heal from all these crazy things. You know, that you really haven't processed yet from a pretty wild year, I bet, for 2021. Or, sorry, 2022. You see? Anyway, Mars is going through your first house too. So just thank you, Amber. Thank you. Thank you, Amber. So watch out. Don't rush around and be careful in the kitchen. When you're using a knife, look at the knife, please. I was a restaurant manager for many years, and I would tell people, you got to look at the knife. It's okay if you kind of talk, as long as you pay attention. If you're like me and you can't walk and chew gum, like a good Taurus Mercury, told you I'm Pooh Bear. Yeah, be careful with knives. And fire. Thank you, Amber, thank you. Be careful with knives and fire. Knives and fire.
Lizzie.
Lizzie Borden. Lizzie is April 30th. April 30th, 1980. 9:17 p.m. (9:17 p.m.) Tustin, CA. I need to get my eyes checked. I'm having eye issues. I know where Tustin is. I know where Tustin is. California love. Do 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 do. In the city of Tustin. Keep me rocking. It's hot out there, Tustin. 11. Oops. So that's November the 26th. About to have a birthday. 1978. 11:35 p.m. Which... yeah, please get all your information correct. Lizzie... what is Lizzie? It should be 4-3. I had 4-3 originally written down. Okay. Okay. You see, when I have multiple texts of the same thing in a thread, that's why we have to double check everything. Quadruple check, please. I used to be in charge of accounts payable. I'm a dyslexic Gemini. What sort of idiot would put me in charge of making sure that all these big vendors get paid? But you know what I had to do? I had to quadruple check everything because I knew I was dyslexic. So I quadruple checked everything. I'd be like, yes, 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 yes. So that's the sort of thing we have to do, you know. That's the sort of thing we have to do. So I'll update Lizzie's chart, but I've got November the 26th, 1978, 11:35 p.m. I'm hoping there really is a Lima, Ohio, because the only Lima I know is Peru. So no, there is no... Wait, hold on. There is a Lima. There's Lima from Allen County or Lima from Meigs County. I'll assume it's Allen County. Allen County? Allen County? Is it in Allen County? It's asking me because there's 2 Limas. There's Lima in Allen County and one in Meigs or Meigs County. Allen, thank you. There we go. Allen County. You see, this happens quite frequently where I need the county also. Now let me edit this goddamn chart. I hate this. I hate this. All I want is good information. All I want is good information. I want good information. I want good information. Let's look at Lizzie. She's got Chiron in the 7th house. So, not a very fun relationship history, I imagine. And where's Venus, who rules it? Venus is in the 8th house. Right? So you probably like bad boys or girls. You probably like the dangerous people. The dangerous people. Right? You just texted me what? It's Allen County. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. So anyway, you probably like the dangerous partners. The bad boys and girls. Right? People who are a bit, edgy, perhaps. Maybe you've fallen for dishonest types. The 8th house is other people's stuff, and people often use us, right? For our stuff, or for our body parts, or whatever. I mean, everyone sort of uses everyone a little bit. I mean, because we're interdependent, we need each other. But this also has a difficult side, This has a very difficult side, being attracted to criminals. Oh, you said terrible relationship history and you love bad boys and girls. Yeah. So being attracted to criminals or people who do not nice things or who are seedy or unsavory in some way. On the 1st house Scorpio moon is not really good in relationships either. I mean, it wants to be number one. It wants to be number one with everyone. And then it's paranoid that no one is actually believing it's number one. And so, it has this adversarial thing towards its partners. Just naturally, It's a natural adversarial stance. Because you don't really trust people, do you? You might be paranoid that everyone's always talking about you. So, let's look at Lizzie partner. I tell you what. Do. Some people are a lot like clouds, clouds, 'Cause life gets brighter when they go. Anyway, so we got a Leo rising. I love Leo risings. So this dude, I assume it's a dude or a girl, I don't know. This person has Pluto conjunct the moon in Libra like I do. So this person's on the bipolar coaster. And they have a very unhappy Venus. You see? Now they probably grew up with not a lot, I imagine. Or their parents didn't give them a lot or they had to struggle. I imagine mom wasn't a very nice person. I imagine, where's Mars? I imagine dad may have cheated on mom or had his own other thing. And the other thing about this guy is he's very passionate about what he believes and he's probably very sexual. I'm just saying it's he. Oh, okay, yes, it's a dude. There we go. So this person's probably very sexual. I have Mars and the Sun conjunct in my 5th house. And I'm quite a sexual person. So I imagine he is too, but I mean, they're not conjunct, but Mars conjunct Neptune. It's like a firebrand preacher. Like Joel Osteen. Ah! Like I saw this picture of Joel Osteen going, ah! It's like, this religion stuff is like pro wrestling, isn't it? These guys get out there and talk a bunch of shit like they're going to fight someone. It really is. And pro wrestling is a 5th house thing, too. It's got acting involved in sports. And the 5th house is both acting and sports. So anyway, So I imagine Dad not super great. Unhappy Venus ruling the 10th house, so Mom not so nice either. And the bipolar coaster, like I said, he's got high highs and low lows. Oh, so anyway, synastry. Let's look at the synastry grid before I run out of time. Properties. I had a partner one time tell me that they thought I was their property. And I thought that was the hottest thing ever. Nope, sometimes they really mean it. And like Maya Angelou said, and we hear this quote ad infinitum, don't we? But when people show you who they are the first time, believe them. Believe me, I'm absolutely insane. You know, people think I'm joking around online and stuff. Like, no, I'm really a difficult person to get along with. I mean, in some context. I guess if you work for me. If you work for me. Or, no, better yet, if I feel like you're talking shit. That's when I get all wackadoodle. So, communication's not great here. Mercuries are square. It's like we're speaking a different language. And then your Saturn is square his Mercury too. That's also very difficult, you see. And why is that? Because he would probably feel like you step on his word, or like you don't listen to him. He probably feels like he's talking to a brick wall sometimes. Now his Saturn is opposite your Mercury, so you would have the same experience. So what I assume here is that people are holding grudges and not talking about them. They're holding on to these things because Saturn holds on to shit. You see, when Mars gets involved in this sort of thing, it's like, quick splits and quick arguments. You know, yeah, I wackadoodle. That's right. So, and your Mars is conjunct his ascendant, you know. I mean, this is a tumultuous relationship. Just like I talked about Pluto conjunct the ascendant in that one, where it hammers you and it changes you. And it makes Plutonian obsession and jealousy sort of a core thing. Now, with Mars conjunct the ascendant, this can make competition between you two a core thing. Or you can use that in a more constructive way and compete with other people. I mean, you're the couple competing with others. Okay, Amber just called me time. So I make sure I didn't miss any bad stuff. Oh, Pluto conjunct the moon. Very hard to break that up. Very hard to break. And I can't go through every fucking bit of synastry. So, I'm sorry, Chaley, or anyone else, if you say, oh, what about this or what about that? I got to what I got to. I'm sorry. I got to what I got to. Oh, and really, one last thing. Pluto opposite the sun. Sort of similar to the ascendant thing. You get hammered. The sun person especially, so that's you. You want to shine and be bright. Be yourself. And they're probably uncomfortable with you being yourself. Maybe they get jealous. Like, oh, she's so pretty. Or, oh, people like her so much. It makes me uncomfortable, Which is really, that possessive thing isn't cute. I used to think it was cute, but it's not. It's really not. There's some other Pluto things, but yeah. We gotta move on. We got to move on. My head is haunting me and my heart feels like a ghost. I need to feel something 'cause I'm still so far from home. Cross your heart and hope to die. Promise me you'll never leave my side. Show me what I can see. You got me on my knees. I'm your undercover. Cross my heart and hope to die. Promise you I'll never. So I've got December the 10th, 1998. I wish I didn't have to do this. December the 10th, 1998 at 9:05 a.m. I sure hope that's correct. Vukovar, Croatia. See, I'm an international girl. I've got clients from Tacoma to Tbilisi. From Arizona to Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan, sorry. You know what I'm saying? Cool. Thank you, Amber, for getting that correct. Cross your heart and hope to die. Promise me you'll never leave my side. 'Cause I'm telling you, you're all I need. I promise you, you're all I see. 'Cause I'm telling you, you're all I need. I'll never leave. So you can drag me through hell. Anyway, that's Bring Me the Horizon. I'm obsessed with them right now. First thing I saw was Mars square your ascendant, and Mars ain't happy. You know? You feel me? And Mars rules your 4th house, and Saturn is in your 4th house, and he's not happy in Aries. If you remember, we talked about essential dignities, right? And Mars is what? In detriment in Libra. And Saturn is what? In fall in Aries. Well, at least you have a happy Jupiter, you know. And you got a 12th house sun. Oh my gosh, my love. What a difficult thing. All this stuff. And your Mercury's very unhappy. You're having your Mercury return. Pardon me. And your Mercury's retrograde. You just got beat up, homie, didn't you? You got beat up. So Dad probably was not very, very kind, I imagine. So you probably had a very unstable household growing up. When I see Saturn in the 4th house, oftentimes I think, you know, an absent or, you know, cold or unemotional or even sometimes abusive father. So, and the ruler, Mars, is up in the 10th house in Libra. So it may have been that Dad was a pushover. I don't know. Or maybe wishy-washy or passive-aggressive. Or maybe Mom really ruled the roost. You know. Maybe Mom really ruled the roost. And I doubt Mom was a walk in the park either. Because Mars is up there in the 10th. You know, and then the ruler of your 10th house, and we'll call that the mother, because the 10th house is opposite what? The 4th house, right? The 4th house is the father, and the 10th house we often say is the mother. And the ruler will signify the mother. So in the 12th house, maybe Mom was an alcoholic. Or maybe Mom had mental illness or addiction issues of some sort. And I imagine that you've, you know, had your own mental health or you know, drug or alcohol issues, because the sun is there in the 12th house also. You know? And Saturn rules your 1st house. And Saturn isn't happy, as we said. So, and that's a difficult thing because it can give us health problems. You know? But your mom's the dominant parent. So, you know, this, on the one hand, this really screws up our self-confidence. You know? Makes us beat ourselves up. And then, quite frankly, you might have health issues too. But also, I imagine that you're interested in history, and you do have a certain attachment to your homeland. You know, when your 1st house ruler is in the 4th house, your mom's a religious fanatic. Well, yeah, your moon's in the 9th house too, which is religion, and oftentimes the moon is the mom also. So that makes sense. And then the fanaticism is very 12th house too. Because religion can be a drug and a mental illness, can't it? I'm not saying all religion is. I'm saying it can be. Remember, Karl Marx said religion is the opiate of the masses. Meaning it gets us faded. You know, it gets us inebriated. So she told you need to get baptized. I'm sorry, but tell your mom to can it, because ugh. When people get religious as they get older, they get really fanatical about it, and it's not sexy. It's not cute. It drives me insane. It really does. Because they start trying to convert everyone else. And you have to leave people free to find their own answers and to go their own way. You won't see you don't see Christ in the Gospels imposing things on anyone except for his disciples who willingly followed him. He says, "Come with me and I will make you fishers of men." Right? Fishing for men. Fishing for men in all the wrong places. Fishing for men. Anyway, Jupiter's happy there in the 3rd house. So I bet you're quite intelligent. But the important thing, you see, Capricorn rising is learning eventually about spiritual achievement. Learning to every rising sign is about self-realization, but just in a different way, in a different quality. And for Capricorn, it's about achievement. It's about sublimating the personal in order to appreciate the universal. And it's an effort. It's a climb. You think of the symbol of the goat. Capricorn is about the mountaintop. The mountaintop of initiation, the vision. You see? Oh, I should move on. Oh, really quickly. Eclipses are oscillating between your 4th and 10th house. This is very big. I went through this not too long ago. I moved out of state to Colorado, which I love. I love Colorado. I really do. And since October, you may have a big change in your life direction or career or whatever. So it's another significant thing. Okay, Claudette. What about, no, Hector's next. We didn't do Hector. We got Hector. Yeah, correct information only. Correct information only. Correct information only, please. And that goes for everyone. Everyone. And I won't name names because it goes for everyone. And Amber knows who she is. I said I was not going to name names. Sorry, Amber. Sorry. I was not going to name names. Costa Rica, Mexico. No, and Amber... Anyway, never mind. Hector is from Costa Rica, Mexico. Sinaloa is like the state. It's like if it was Costa Rica, California, right? It's Costa Rica, Sinaloa in Mexico. And Hector, if I am incorrect about that, let me know. Si no tengo razón, right? If I'm not right, if I don't have correctness. Si no tengo razón. Dude, fuck no. Don't tell me that. Wait, so Hector's not here anymore? If Hector's not here, I'll go to Claudette. Claudette. See, I was thinking Cosette from Les Miserables. Cosette. Cosette. Or who's the one I like who sings, I dream the dream of time gone by. Something, something. Claudette. Not Cosette, but Claudette. Do you hear the voices singing, singing the songs of angry men? This is the music of the people who will not be slaves again. When the beating of your heart echoes the beating of a drum. Something, something, something when tomorrow comes. Amarillo. Texas. Tejas. Amarillo. Tejas. I know geography. You know my strong suit isn't geography. Well, it is mine. So, I'm very fond of... See, I have a 9th house stellium. I'm an international girl. I'm an international girl in an international world. I'm an international girl. Amarillo. I mean, I'm pretty good with geography. There's lots of stuff I don't know. Oh, yes, I play lots of guitar. I do a little bit of everything. It's Geminis. We're a little good at a lot of stuff. My ass is yours, Amber. You wish. You wish. Okay. I'm a material girl in a material world. Through hell, if it meant I could hold your hand, I will follow you. Wait, is Claudette just herself? Is Claudette, yes, just by herself. Okay. So Aries rising, wonderful. That means you have Mars going through your 8th house right now, so watch accruing debt. Try and lock your credit card up, in I don't know, in a lockbox, in a drawer somewhere, I don't know. Hide your credit card from yourself if you can. You need some love? I love you, Amber. I love you. You're wonderful. I'm just frustrated. 2 things. I need correct information, and I need to finish my fucking video about Heracles, because I'm excited about it. And I've been doing a shitload of research. And so I'm up to my eyeballs in Heracles, And some of you may know I'm involved in a spiritual group I've been involved in for 17 years, and I have more responsibility now. So there's all that stuff. It's difficult. Now, Claudette probably had a lack of life direction, right? I don't know what I want to do. I'm not sure, We're not sure. There's all these different possibilities, and we can't really settle on anything. And oftentimes what happens is our parents have expectations of us. Or we have expectations of ourselves that we acquire from our parents, you see? I have to play with something. And we acquire ideas and expectations and conditions from our parents. And then we feel ashamed when we don't fulfill them. So I don't know if that's the case with you, but that often happens, you see? And with Chiron in the 4th house, I had that too. And we do oftentimes have a very painful childhood, abuse from parents or whatever. And with Saturn being in the 10th house, I imagine mom wasn't very easy to get along with. Saturn is trine the moon, right? Which is a nicer sort of aspect than a square or whatever. But still, mom could have been a quite difficult person. And with your moon in the 6th house, she could have been either workaholic or even an enemy in a way. Or maybe she had chronic illness. Maybe you have chronic illness, to be quite honest. So now you see relationships are taking the forefront since the eclipse. So that's quite important to realize. Because you've probably been going through like the sense of what does it all mean to me and who am I and what is all this. But see, that's good stuff because then you can go. Now, I don't see anything in the chat, so I don't know if anything I'm saying is like relevant, but he said he was taking a shower. Anyway. Read you. Anyway. See, the thing about the 8th house, when you have an 8th house sun like that, well, it's conjunct Pluto too, that's fun. And Venus. I mean, that's a classic stellium, isn't it? 8th house stellium. The thing about 8th house stellium is they're learning to let go. And you might find that people seek you out for advice or whatever, or as a confidant. And they probably feel like you've got some trauma and that they can relate to you. You know? So. But it's often like we're other people's counselors. You know? It's often like we're other people's. Now, I wonder if you have any siblings and you have bad relationships with them. You know? I wonder if you have any bad relationships with siblings. You know, Mars is in the 3rd house retrograde, and the 3rd house ruler is Mercury in the 9th house, unhappy in Sagittarius. So you probably have ADHD, you know, but you're still interested in deeper things. You know, you want to get to the bottom of things, but you don't have that attention span. And then you get into arguments with people, don't you? You know, whether or not you think you're arguing, you're probably having an antagonistic sort of tone. I have a Mars in Gemini too. Oh, you have a brother, but you're close. That's very good. Okay, well, I'm glad that is. I wonder if your brother is a very deep sort of spiritual person, like the 9th house sort of thing is. Or if they live abroad, right? Or if they're in academia. So, there's a place called Workshop in the UK. That's wild. I'm from Workshop. I'm on point. Thank you, my darling. I appreciate you telling me. So, and it's good to be a little confidant for people, but you personally in your life, you learn through pain. I mean, who doesn't learn through pain and suffering? But that's especially pronounced in your life, right? It's like life is punctuated by a series of shattering crises. So learn to love it because you're never the same afterwards, but it makes you into a new creature. You know? That's the real born again, is Pluto. I have Pluto square my ascendant. Sort of a similar thing. That's the real getting born again. The born again. If Hector ever comes back, let me know. If Hector comes back, let me know. Some people are a lot like clouds, you know. Clouds, you know. 'Cause life's a lot brighter when they go. My voice is so hoarse now. The thing about salt water, too, is it makes my throat dry. But I have to drink it. Otherwise, I feel like absolute garbage. Some people are a lot like clouds, you know. Clouds, you know. 'Cause life's much brighter when they go. Cause you wanna taste your own medicine. I'm sick of tired of swallowing. Wait, hold on. Oh, there's the time. I need glasses, or I need to see an eye doctor or something. Workshop. Workshop. I live in Workshop. Santa's taking me back to his work. Oh, look. Workshop in Nottinghamshire. Workshop in Nottinghamshire. Nottinghamshire. Sorry. I'm sorry. I have lots of clients in the UK. Where's Kirsty? She's Scottish. I'm always making fun of Kirsty. Sorry. I'm not making fun. I'm just playing around. Yeah, I'm awful. So anyway.
It's a workshop from Nottinghamshire.
Americans doing British accents are so bad. And it's so funny because I saw Hassan Piker say this. But we either do the
Very haughty, very sort of Queen of England, high English.
or we do, Michael Caine here. I said to myself, Alfie, you bleeding murdered him. No one's seen Alfie, Has anyone seen Alfie? It was like a 60s or 70s movie with Michael Caine where he
Plays a very promiscuous man.
Some people are a lot like clouds, clouds, Oh, sorry, who's blind? Who's blind? Me? Oh, I thought you were saying someone is like, visually impaired, like actually. So anyway, well, Mars pretty closely conjunct the ascendant. Venus not too far away. It's sort of funny when you see this kind of configuration because on the one hand, it's sort of charming. On the other hand, it's a pain in the ass. Because these kind of people, my mom used to say, it's workshop, whatever. I mean, I'm seeing workshop with my brain. You know how the human brain works, right? It fills in gaps in perception. We don't see things as they are. And you can use a whole bunch of visual, what are they called? Optical illusions or visual anomalies to prove that. We don't see things as they are, and that's why we do esoteric work. Sorry, my leggings. Oh wait, what's this under me? It's my zipper. My coat was under me. I was sitting on my zipper. It's your friend's chart and they have eye issues. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought Amber was making fun of me. I saw him with my mind's eye. I don't know. I think my mind's eye. Yelling at me. LMAO, the audacity. Girl, I'm following patterns. When I've got incorrect information so many times, I'm going to be suspicious now. Every time. I'm sorry. I'm going to be suspicious now every time. I'm not going to trust information fully. I'm sorry. I'm not. Oh, look, you're a disseminating moon too. This one you spelled right. I know you did. This is why I'm talking about the human brain. Because there's a wonderful cognitive scientist that I follow out of the University of Sussex. He runs the Department of Neuroscience, and he's done a lot of work on consciousness. And, consciousness they describe as a material phenomenon. And that's not a problem for me, because that doesn't negate the sense of being and being here. And that's something that we can... Oh my gosh, stop it. I hate when that happens. See, now that's ruined. Ugh. Those stupid notifications, they ruin my flow. Oh, wait, here we go. Taste of your own medicine. 'Cause I'm sick to death of swallowing. So anyway, you're a disseminating moon, so you're critical like that one person we looked at. Very unhappy Saturn. Very unhappy Jupiter. A happy Mercury, at least you got that going for you. An unhappy Sun, right? Sun's in the fall.
Doing Libra.
Right? But your first house ruler being in fall. Again, maybe some issues with confidence. Issues feeling like yourself, And, you're probably a little bit impulsive. You're probably very concerned with what you want and your way and your things. But at the same time, there's a deferential thing about you, right? There's sort of like wanting to be liked or whatever. you're probably quite intelligent, but growing up, you may have been, having speech impediments or learning disabilities or whatever, But chronic illness oftentimes happens when your first house ruler is unhappy, right? My first house ruler is Saturn, and he's happy, but he's still Saturn and square my ascendant, which you see that a lot, again, with the chronic illness thing. Jupiter is unhappy too. So with Jupiter rules the 8th house, and the 5th house. The 5th house. Sometimes I wonder about that with sexual dysfunction. Sometimes I wonder about that. Or oftentimes, one's children have a chronic illness or something like that. Saturn in the 9th house, though, opposite the sun, you see. So the sun's the first house ruler, and Saturn is really not happy. And Saturn rules what? Saturn rules the 6th house of illness, right? So, there is... Now, you've already said there's eye problems. And the sun rules what? The eyes. The sun rules vision in ancient astrology. Why is that? Because that's the way you see shit. If there was no sun, you wouldn't see anything. He's good at sexting and hot sexting. Yes. Issues with confidence. Yes. Cause of his Leo. Yes. Health issues, including mental health. Yeah. He doesn't last long. Yeah. Well, there's ways to, to last longer. You see, I probably shouldn't be so graphic, but, I used to go many, many times, and I still do. But now, because I've been on estrogen and progesterone for 2 years, I last a long time. For good or for ill, So, because sometimes I get tired, and I'm getting old, right? I'm getting old. I'm not really. I'm 40. It's not that old. I'm still athletic, So, but my hips hurt sometimes. From going too long. It's like one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. It's like, thing, that thing can sing. Song, a long, long song. Goodbye, thing, you sing too long. Right? Goodbye, Saturn girl, you too long. So, anyway. Not like it's a bad thing. Trying to see if there's reception anywhere that would help. There's reception by sign. It's pretty weak, though. It's mutual reception by sign between Venus and the sun. So you see, Venus is in Libra, which is ruled by Venus. And Venus is in this Leo, which is ruled by the sun. They're not making a degree-based aspect, but they are making a sextile by sign. And by sign aspects are a thing in ancient astrology. You see? So. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Amber. I will do that. And you know what? I'll just, what? Yeah, and I'll use this chart or my chart to talk about moon phases really quick. So, and no one else is here anyway. There's like 6 people. Who cares? Who cares? Who's even here? It says 6 viewers, but I don't... It's so weird because after I do these lives, it says that there's something like 90 or 60 people that viewed it. And I'm like, well, they weren't there. So... Yeah, see, we see it's a disseminating moon. It's coming right off the full moon here. So this person's a bit critical too. They're more introverted, you see. When the moon is on the waning cycle, it makes us a bit more backward thinking. We're critiquing things. We reflect on things. Whereas someone like me who's a gibbous moon, we're very forward thinking and, outgoing. That sort of thing. Visionary as opposed to, criticizing the visions that other people had, which is what this person does. Anyway, Saturn opposite the sun is just tough, you see? It's just tough. And Saturn on the south node. So anyway, this person may have felt stupid as a kid and felt like, or had speech impediments or learning disabilities. And now they are probably quite brilliant and need to work on being good at speaking. Even though Saturn's not happy, it's still in the 9th house. And this is someone who's on a search for meaning in their life. They probably had a bad experience of religion growing up, you see? And now they're seeking meaning. And they might be very incredulous or scientific at this point. So, some people are a lot like clouds, Clouds, 'Cause life's much brighter when they go. Anyway. No one is in for chart readings. So I'm just gonna talk. Well, if Hector comes back, I could do Hector. Anyway. Excuse me. Excuse me. You're welcome. I'm 100% on point. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't mention he's got a Gemini sun. Oh, wait, Libra sun. He's a Libra. A Libra. Gemini sun, Mercury. Okay. Okay. Where is this other thing? Where is this other thing? Oh, yes, now. What's going on right now? Animate. Go, gadget, animation. Oh, you're the Gemini sun. Oh, okay, I got you. Because I thought the information was wrong for a second. So. Some people are a lot like clouds, Clouds, Along getting high on a Saturday night. I'm on the edge of a knife. Okay. So you see, the sun here is catching up to Mars. Watch this. Because you think, see, Mars is moving away from the sun. And then all of a sudden, we've got, on the 18th it should be, the 18th. On the 18th, they're going to be exact. Cazimi, where are you, sunny boy? There they go. Come on now. Get closer. Get closer. Come on, son. What are you doing, son? There we go. 26, 29, 29, 31, 31, 33. We'll just do like, there we go. 34 minutes to 34 minutes. That's so lovely. It hurts you to hear me say what? Oh, look, there's Kalola. Hi. Hi, my darling. So this is the Mars Cazimi. And the reason why I was going to mention moon phases a little bit is because it's sort of similar to the moon phases. We divide up the Mars cycle into 8 phases, just like we would a moon cycle, right? And this is called the Mars synodic cycle. And what's the moon phases besides another synodic cycle? A synodic cycle is the movement of another planet in relation to the sun from conjunction to conjunction. And the Mars synodic cycle lasts about 2.1 years. So you see, it's sort of momentous. The last one we had was in 2021. The last Mars Cazimi. And so this is the fulfillment of that cycle, which is quite important. You see, I relate each one of these Mars phases to a moon phase, just like I did the Venus cycle. Yeah? Now, with the Venus cycle thing and the correspondence with the myth of my mama Inanna, I got that from Demetra George originally. She was the one that sort of came up with that. But then there was another article relating Barbie and Inanna. And anyway, and so it related to the Barbie movie too and all this sort of stuff. I don't think there's a big Hercules movie or Ken movie or whatever out right now, so it's not necessarily a thing. Oh, there's a Napoleon movie with Joaquin Phoenix coming out. I guess that could kind of be a thing, you know? But what's really interesting about this is that it follows the myth of Heracles, or at least I relate it to that, as an allegory, you see? Because at least in, the Alice Bailey esoteric tradition, as I said earlier, she wrote this book called The Labors of Hercules, which related each of the 12 labors of Hercules to a zodiacal sign. You see? And the 12 labors of Hercules, or Heracles rather, for those of you who don't know, there's different accounts of why he had to do them. But the primary account that we hear is that Hera made him go mad and he killed his family. And as he came to, he realized what he'd done and he was so bereft that he had to atone. And the oracle at Delphi told him he had to atone for his sins through 12 labors, you see. And those 12 labors, hi Britopia. Well, I did a makeup reading because I might not be able to do or a makeup live because I might not be able to do this Sunday. I was going to post about this on YouTube, but then I totally forgot because I was busy doing other things. So anyway, Heracles' 12 labors were assigned to him by Eurystheus, his cousin, who became king in his stead, of Mycenae or Mycenae, right? I've heard it pronounced both ways. Mycenae or Mycenae, which was an ancient Greek city-state. Anyway, so he has to do those 12 labors to atone, but he's also told by Zeus that once he completes those 12 labors, that he's going to be immortal. And that's where this relates to the spiritual and esoteric tradition, right? That, that's described by Alice Bailey and all that, but really it's sort of derivative of Hermetic philosophy too. And Vedic philosophy to a certain extent, and she draws on a lot of that stuff. We always have this archetype of having to die, right, to achieve immortality. And that's sort of a symbol, right, in the Christian Gospels too. Although we're told, Christ was already the Son of God or whatever. But the whole symbolism of immortality is about what? Re-identification with your source. That's what it's about. Whatever that means to you. And the whole process of initiation, each one of these phases, these Mars phases, if you will, is a progressive step on a journey back to our source, right? Like the prodigal son, as I talked about at the beginning of this live, going home, right? And the home and the father in that story is symbolic, right? Of what? Of our source, our creator, whatever that means to you. You see? Now, this is all off the cuff, so cut me some slack. Now, what are those phases with Mars? I'll talk about them really quick because I'm going to do a wonderful video on this. Hopefully tonight or tomorrow. I have to finish writing this script. But I spent hours talking to Amber on the phone, which I shouldn't have done. I should have been working on my script. I love you, Amber. I do. I promise. So you see how Mars now is conjunct the sun. This is the conjunction, right? The Cazimi. To me, this is like the birth, right? It's like a new moon. It's bursting onto the scene. To me, this is like, it's when Mars is conjunct the sun, he's what? He's hidden. This is called the lying hidden phase, because you can't see the sun. You can't see Mars, rather. Because Mars's light is eclipsed by the sun's. Isn't it? This is like Heracles in the womb. His conception. And even his conception and his gestation in his mother Alcmene's
tummy,
right? Because it was Zeus that disguised himself as her husband, and and then her real husband comes back the next day. Do we tip for chart readings, or are you reading a random chart? Yeah, you could tip for readings. I didn't have anyone else do it, so I've got 15 minutes left. And then I'm signing off because I got to keep writing this script and do this other video. So I was talking about my Heracles thing with the Mars Cazimi. And after that, you had Mars separating far enough from the sun that what? We call that the morning star phase. Right? And I think of the morning star phase. When will you go live again? Well, this was my live for the week, because if I'm able to go live Sunday, I will do it Sunday. But as of right now, I have an event to go to Sunday. Well, there's live, what are they called? Super chats or super thanks that you can do to donate through YouTube or Google or whatever. So that's always very much appreciated. Thank you. And there's PayPal, right? Oh, she said she doesn't have... Well, I assumed it was a she. I shouldn't say that. Or assumed they were a she. They don't have PayPal, Amber. They just said that. They just said that. We probably won't go live again till next week. If I can go live this Sunday, I will. But as of right now, I can't. So anyway, the morning star phase of Mars, when Mars appears as the morning star, to me, that's like the birth of Heracles, right? And we have all these fun stories about him as a child where, some people say it was Hera, but it was really his stepdad, Amphitryon, who sends the snakes because Amphitryon, right, had relations, right, had sex with his wife Alcmene like the day after Zeus did. Because she said, wait, you just came in, we had fun last night. And Amphitryon says, what? Then he realized it was a god, because only a god could do that. And probably Zeus, because that's Zeus's MO. So you see, she was, this is not possible, but she was gestating with, well, I guess maybe it is I don't know how this works. I'm not a biologist. Thank you so much, Britopia. Please put your information in the chat. You are so sweet. Thank you very much. Thank you. But so he was gestating with his half-brother at the same time, his twin half-brother. Right? And so when these two are little boys or little babies, Amphitryon sends out 2 poisonous snakes to attack them because he wanted to know which one was his child, right? And so his kid, Ithacles, is it Ithacles? Ithacles, I think. Isosceles, sees the snake and is terrified and runs off. Meanwhile, Heracles grabs the snakes and, And the thing about Heracles is he had 3 main qualities: anger, violence, and extreme sexual prowess. Right? He was good at his deeds. One of his labors was to get, I think it was the tunic or something from one of the Amazonian queens. And she sees him and just tosses it, There's there's like one man in existence right now that I would be inclined to do that for. Only one. Okay, so we're going to look at Britopia. Not Fruitopia, but Britopia. No one remembers Fruitopia. It was some kind of drink. It was like Snapple. Snapple. Does anyone remember Snapple? No one remembers Snapple. I used to drink Snapple. Snapple. Oh my god. Snapple. Oh, Amber, shut up. Check my texts. I'm looking at them right now. And thank you for putting it as date, time, city, Amber. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Date, time, city. Always date, then time, then city. Sacramento, California. What was it now? What? Sacramento. You love Snapple when you can drink. I haven't even seen it in forever. Sacramento. Am I spelling it wrong? I hate Solar Fire. I hate Solar Fire sometimes. Like, it's like the premier astrology program. But if you misspell something, it doesn't recognize it. It doesn't come up with suggestions or whatever. Excuse me, I mean it does, but like 1,000 of them that don't make any sense. And sometimes it's the same city name in 4 different counties. And it just makes me upset. Sacramento. I see I'm from California originally. It's annoying. Sacramento. I didn't say you spelled it wrong. I'm saying I was spelling it wrong. I didn't say you did. You're fine, Amber. I spelled it wrong. I was spelling Sacramento. C-R-E instead of C-R-A. So it's cray, not cray. Because Sacramento is cray. That's where my favorite rapper, Brother Lynch, is from. Sacktown. I love him. Call me Agent 0024 block. So we talked about Virgo earlier. Virgo rising. You see? And it's interesting when you have the North Node in the first house and Mars in the 7th. Mars in the 7th, oftentimes, it causes splits in relationships. It brings pain in relationships, quite frankly, a lot of times. You see? But also, it makes us passionate about them. We want... Wait, what's the 916? What's that mean? What's 916? Is the time wrong on here? It says 921. What's 916? Oh, is that like the 916? Oh, the 916. Oh, the area code. Yeah. And you know what's so funny is I'm from San Diego, which was the 619. You're talking about the area code. Yeah. I'm such a doofus. Like, I was going to get 619. I was going to get 619 tattooed on my stomach. It's so stupid. I'm so glad I didn't. Yep, I know. Area code. I got that now. The 916. Yep. Call me Agent 0024 block. I got that 9 block and ready to put one in your nut. Rest in peace. So, anyway, Mars in the 7th house, though, relationships are important to it. But they're also contentious. Now, we look into the 7th house ruler to discern more. The 7th house ruler is Jupiter in the 6th house. Oh, gosh. They only have 3 viewers now. Whatever. You just want to know how a grand mutable cross in a natal chart might be affected by the full moon. Don't ask me about aspect patterns because I think they're stupid. I don't look at grand crosses. I think they're stupid. I don't look at grand trines. I think they're stupid. I don't look at yods. I think they're stupid. I don't look at cradles. I don't look at mystic rectangles. I don't look at aspect patterns in general because I think they're stupid. What they're doing is they're trying to overcomplicate things by taking aspects and then turning them into another thing that all of a sudden you read something else into, and that's stupid. Because the aspects tell you enough on your own, on their own. The chart is a tapestry, you see? The chart here is a story. And when you add in your own chapters, it just muddies up the information. What you need to do is, the chart is a whole on its own. What you're doing with aspect patterns is you're adding new layers within the parts in the whole. Each of these is a part related to a whole. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying I think it's stupid. That's all. So, the new moon on the 27th, the full moon in Gemini on the 27th. Well, what house will that be for you? The moon, and what degree would it be? Like, I mean, I rarely pay attention to individual lunations. Like, we have them every month. You know, what's different from last month? You know what I'm saying? If the aspect and angle, so if this is conjunct your midheaven in Gemini, then it's significant, isn't it? So when's that? Stop it. The moon's in Sagittarius. So when's this full moon in Gemini that you're talking about? It looks like I will be able to go live Sunday. Oh, on the 27th of November. Okay. Like, I didn't... It's going to be at 5 degrees. Well, it's going to be important for me because it's going to be exactly conjunct my Mars. So, you know. Thank you, sweetheart. Well, I mean, I'm trying to explain why I... You see, I'm mostly into ancient astrology now. No way! I didn't even look at this. The full moon is exactly on my Mars. It's nowhere near your midheaven. It's at 4 degrees Gemini. So, I mean, I don't know what Grand Cross you're talking about either. I don't even see a Grand Cross in your chart. So, 1 minute till, yeah. Thank you, Amber, for the time. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't even see a Grand Cross in your chart. So, I'm gorgeous and entertaining. Oh, thank you. I think I'm entertaining. I think I'm pretty swell. But I'm sort of biased, aren't I? So, now when you have moon conjunct Mercury, it often makes for anxiety, especially a Capricorn moon. Having a Capricorn moon really sucks, doesn't it? I always make fun of Capricorn moon, like, you know, remember that scene in Bambi? When his mother gets shot by the hunter? Remember Bambi's, you know, his sorrow? That must be what Capricorn moon feels like all the time. Right? I'm half joking. But you see, it's very difficult because Capricorn moon has a difficult time, what? Sharing emotions and being vulnerable. The opposite sign, Cancer. The opposite sign, Cancer, is ruled by the moon. Its emotions flow. It feels things. Doesn't mean they're always nice or good people. There's all sorts of other things that can go on in the chart. But at least the emotional expression and being able to feel things and express them is something that they have facility with, as opposed to Capricorn moon, which does not. Capricorn moon has a hard time being vulnerable. I make fun of it like a Tootsie Pop, except, you know, the candy shell is not sweet. It's bitter. Or it's salty like me. Although the moon was said to be salty in taste. Just like your mother, right? So you see, that's an important thing to remember for Capricorn moon, that learning how to take your armor off, learning how to express things with people, and taking risks, because you will get hurt, right? You will get hurt. So where's this mutable Grand Cross? Did I get your chart wrong? I have January the 25th, 1998. Is your chart wrong? I have January the 25th, 1998, 9:21 p.m.
Sacramento, California. I will bring business back to California. I will do the people's work.
Right? Remember when Arnold was our governor? I say because I was born in California. 1988. Oh, Ember. Ember, you wrote 1998, my love. You wrote 1998. You wrote 1998, Ember. 1998. Yep. See, and I don't go back and do charts again. But I'm upset. Now I'm really upset again. I'm upset. I don't like being fed bad information. In fact, that's like one of the things I like the least. I'm not happy. I'm very unhappy. 1998 it said in the thing, but it's 1988. You're a Cat Moon in the 10th house and you're a total boss. I'm sure you are a total boss. Doesn't change the fact that it's a very depressing moon. Well, here's with 1988. Yeah, Britopia did say 1988 up here. Do 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 do. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't care about sorry. I'm not interested in apologies. I'm interested in correct information. I don't want to hear like sorry. I want to hear like, okay, I won't do this again. Next time it will be right. Not like 10 times from now. Sorry. Sorry, sorry. Sorry, sorry. I shouldn't say sorry. I'm not sorry. I don't have time or patience for incorrect information. Because it derails everything and it causes, derails everything. So. All right, well, there's a Taurus moon here, which is a whole lot different from a Capricorn moon. I always say Taurus moon, right? I've had exes with Taurus moons. And I always remind them that retail therapy does not cure most major diseases. So, yeah, we're almost done now. The only reason I'm going extra is because I had incorrect information. So, Saturn in the 4th house is not fun. Absent or abusive father. And it's opposite Chiron in the 10th house. Possibly an abusive mother. Although, the moon is exalted in Taurus. So it could be that mom was a religious person or a spiritual person that had an effect on you. And you have a lovely exalted Pisces, Venus. Venus is exalted in Pisces. And she rules your 9th house. And she rules... She rules your 9th house and she rules... I just lost my train of thought. Your 2nd house. So, that is sort of good for your financial situation because she's angular. In an angular house. Oh my God, I'm sorry, what? Sorry, what happened now? Sorry for what? What are we sorry about? What are we sorry about? Is all the information correct? What are we sorry about? What are we sorry about? Anyway. I hope all the information is correct. I don't want to hear sorry unless there's something to be sorry about. Anyway, that's pretty good for the money situation, and she's exalted. So you have a happy Venus. I should look at the bounds and terms. Do I have the bounds and terms of essential dignities? Essential dignities. Here we go. Oh, absent father, correct. Yeah, typically that is. And you have Mars in the 4th house too, which might make you sort of a tyrant around your home. You know, or have a short fuse when it comes to all that stuff. And your Mars is square Venus too. So your temper interferes with how you relate to people. You're probably very sweet on the one hand, but then, you know, there's this other side to you. And maybe your temper isn't always visible to everyone. Maybe it's your outside, you know, Venusian nature that people first see. Your 10th house ruler is Gemini. Mercury ruling Gemini in the 6th house. Right? Maybe you have something to do with the medical profession or the service industry. Sometimes we see doctors or nurses or veterinarians or people who work at a hospital, who are receptionists, or who work in food service or hospitality. It's because the 6th house was the house of slavery and illness and health and enemies. You know, so you'll see that sort of thing, and people have to struggle quite a bit. So I don't know if you have anything to do with any of that stuff. The sun rules your 12th house. Gosh. And you have your sun in the 6th house. People with sun in the 6th house can often have their own health issues, or they can just face incredible odds. You're a webcam girl and a Reiki master. I'm a webcam girl too, and a YouTube girl. I love doing the webcam girl stuff. I mean, I only make like, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there. But I really enjoy it also. Although people get really abusive on there too. I have to ban people because they say all kinds of, you know, gross things. So, well, there's your 9th house moon thing. Oh, and you are involved in healing, sort of. You know. Any 5th house stuff? Saturn rules your 5th house, and he's in the 4th. Excuse me. But that sort of makes sense. Jupiter rules your 7th house. So are you attracted to the bad boys and girls too? Are you attracted to the bad boys and girls? The bad girls club, the bad boys club. People who are shady, right? People who, you know, sell naughty things. People who are criminals. People who are dangerous in some way. You know what I'm saying? We're typically into that sort of thing. And it's probably not the best thing for you. But, you know. Whatever floats your boat to be exciting. You know. So, Jupiter's going through your 9th house right now. So it is sort of a big time for you. Like, between now and next May, this is a time to get deeper into philosophy or your whatever it is you believe in. Your beliefs are going through a transformation. You might even find a mentor around this time. Jupiter going through the 9th house often presents us with a mentor. You know, or we learn a new teaching or a new philosophy, right? Like, oh my gosh, I just got into Buddhism. Or, you know, I discovered Hermeticism or some esoteric philosophy. And oftentimes we learn a lot and we get deeper into this sort of thing, you see. So, well, I'm not going to do it. I have to go. I have to work on this script. So I love you all. I really appreciate everyone who donated. And hopefully we will go live Sunday again. Yes, you need a shaman. I'm sorry. I have a ninth house Saturn. Like, shamanism in different indigenous traditions is great, but people who call themselves shamans I don't really care for. And mediums, media, Like, I'm a medium. Extra medium. My tops are medium, right? And, I'm sure there's valid medium types or whatever, but I just make fun of it. It doesn't help me with self-realization. And being a medium, frankly, doesn't help you with self-realization. In fact, it gets us to pay more attention to ephemeral phenomena. Psychic phenomena, it's a thing, but it's also a big distraction. Because even the Buddha said the highest dhyani states, right? The highest beings are still illusory. It's still dukkha, right? And dukkha is mistranslated in English as suffering. But it's the impermanent. It's everything that's conditioned, you see. And so even, right, all these fantastic entities. I do devotion to Inanna, Mama Venus. I do devotion to Jupiter, to Mars, to Saturn. I mean, I do all the planets really, but I focus on those three. Venus, Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn. Or four. Those four. The malefics and the benefics, because they have a special relation to me. You see? But it's still an illusion. Like, I know it's all me. It's all in my head. Right? One of my heroes, Lon Milo Duquette, used to say, it's all in our head. We just don't realize how big our head is. And even cognitive scientists and neuroscientists are saying these days that we do create our own reality to a certain extent by our brains filling in the gaps. And Dr. Anil Seth said, we are all hallucinating all the time. But when we agree on our hallucinations, we call that what? Reality. We call that reality, don't we? When we agree on our hallucinations. And so the whole thing about spirituality, self-realization, astrology, all this nonsense is about what? It's about learning to see things as they are. And when we're engrossed in psychic phenomena, we're not seeing things as they are. We're getting lost in the midst, right? St. Paul said we see through a glass darkly. We're getting lost in the darkness of the glass. Because things could be quite clear. The only thing we have to go off of in this whole life deal is our own sense of consciousness and being here. So regardless whether it's the physical brain that creates consciousness or it's some supernatural being or whatever, or a soul, I don't know. It's sort of immaterial to me. What is material is seeing things as they are, which means learning to see ourselves as we are and seeing consciousness as it is, and seeing how we're identified with our bodies, with our thoughts and our feelings and our sensations. You see? So even mediumship, psychic phenomena, all these sorts of things, they're real, I'm sure. But to me, it's a distraction. Because it takes us off the path, the one-pointed, the middle way, the razor-edged path. Right? Because we sway this way or that way, we're off. We swing to and fro. It's what Nagarjuna called the Mula Madhyamika, the middle way, right? The middle way between existence and non-existence. When people ask me what my religion is, I say my religion is ontology and epistemology. Ontology is about how things exist. Epistemology is how you know what you know. And that's a thing that's very lacking in the spiritual community, is a bit of self-examination and self-awareness. How do you know that? Did someone just tell you? Is it a gut feeling? Is it your intuition? I often tell people, question your intuition. Oftentimes, people are fond of saying, just listen to your gut. And I'm like, but your gut's full of shit. Boom, boom. You see? So it's good to question ourselves and to be incredulous and to ask ourselves, how do we know all this stuff? Michelle says, my Saturn is in the 9th house too, and I am skeptical, but I did meet mediums, and I like Reiki so much. Mediums. See, in English, the plural's media, isn't it? But when we say media, it sounds like we're talking about the media, right? Television and news and all that sort of thing. But it still sounds weird to me to say mediums. You know what I mean? So, but I feel you. Yeah, and a very close family friend was a medium growing up. And I had all these readings and all this I grew up with this stuff. And you know how they tell you, like, being in seminary makes you an atheist, right? Like, becoming a priest makes you an atheist because they put you through all this logical stuff and you have to read Thomas Aquinas and, St. Augustine. It's the same thing with being involved in the occult for 28 years. 28 years. 28 years. Since I was 12 years old and I'm 40. And believe me, that definitely makes you quite skeptical and incredulous because there's so many bullshitters out there. People who talk to ascended masters, People who, claim to have merged with God. People who've claimed to have direct communication. The woman who invented this whole twin flame nonsense, Elizabeth Clare Prophet. She was a follower of Alice Bailey and Theosophy, and she went off the deep end and started her own cult, her own doomsday cult, and then inflicted a bunch of torture on a whole generation of young astro hoes with this whole twin flame bullshit, which is really just an excuse for abuse. It's an excuse for anxious attachment. So the reason I say all this stuff is so that we have a reminder that astrology isn't about sex and money. Although those are my favorite things. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dogs bite, when the bees sting. But you feel what I'm saying. We can look at the chart for that. And we frequently do. I know I do. But the most important thing is that the chart is a tool for self-development. We can use it to become aware of our patterns. So when I say that psychic phenomena exists, but that it's also a distraction, it's because we get caught up in that sort of thing. And we lend it more credence than it deserves. That's the problem I have with mystics sometimes, is they get caught up in the ecstatic vision. And they miss the understanding of it. And to me, the most important thing to understand is what you are and where the sense of I comes from. And that's only something you can figure out for yourself by seeing it directly. And I preach about that all the time. But I've gone over now 20 extra minutes. So it's time to call it quits. Oh my gosh, I just see Filipina Mom Life come in. Sorry, my darling, you caught me at the very end. I'm so sorry. I have to leave. I have to leave, sweetheart. But have a wonderful